I mentioned in my last video about how I like using my front, top, right planes to do most of my mates. As you can see on my screen here, I have a couple broken mates, and the reason for that is because I made a change to this part P17-3C, and when I made this assembly, I mated surfaces to surfaces. Well, when I made those edits to this part, I ended up actually deleting the entire part to do something a little differently. So now SolidWorks doesn't have the association that I used in the first place and is giving me errors. That's not that many errors and it's fairly easy to fix, but if you kind of think of a larger assembly where there's multiple components where multiple edits could have been made, you can see how this could compound pretty quickly and have a lot of errors that you'd have to fix. I want to show you a different way of going about doing your assemblies that I feel will reduce the amount of errors that will pop up and will give you a lot more flexibility in the long run. I'm actually going to wipe this assembly out and then I'll start off showing you how to use a layout. So I cleared out all the parts and my mates. Now I'm going to start from scratch with this. As you can kind of see on my screen, I got what looks like a sketch. That's the layout. The layout is just a 3D sketch that you can use to, as the name implies, lay out how you want to input your components. To get into a layout, you simply right click up here, go layout, come to the layout tab here, click on layout, and if you already have one on your part, you just double click on anything that is part of the layout and then it'll jump right into it. How a 3D sketch works is just like any sketch, but the only difference is now you actually can swap between your different planes on the fly. So if I wanted to start doing a sketch on the top plane, I just simply double click on it and now I'm sketching on the top plane. Right plane, front plane. So as you can see here, I got some construction lines, several points, and then on the top I have this whole circle. The circle is what I'm having kind of control the entire assembly. As I change my drill diameter, that will reposition my parts as needed. I'm going to do a separate video where I kind of go into some equations and using a singular file and global parameters, we can control all the parts and the assembly from that file, change like two or just a couple numbers, generate it, and all the parts in the assembly automatically update per those inputs. Like I said, that'll be a separate video though. So that's about it for a layout. Like I said, it's just kind of like a sketch, but you have the ability. It's a 3D sketch, so you have the ability of jumping between your different planes. Prior to coming to this, I kind of figured out where my parts were going to be positioned, sketched that out, and then I threw them on here onto the layout. So I'm going to jump back into throwing my components in. So I'm going to go to Assembly, Insert Component. I will allow this one to just lock to my origin. And then I'm going to do this a little slower this time around. So to get this part here constrained to my layout, I need my right plane constrained to this point. So holding down Control, I selected the right plane and that point from the layout, and I want to do that again one more time. Holding down Control, selecting that point, and now without moving my cursor much, these toolbars show up, and that gives me immediate access to actually applying a coincident mate to this component. So that one's got a coincident on it. I need my front to my front. I popped up again, coincident, and top to my top. Nope, I wasn't paying attention. Top to top, coincident. Now that guy is fully constrained. Put another one in. Hold down right click and rotate it around. And I want right to this point. Coincident. top to top, coincident, and front to front, coincident. And those are now fully constrained. I'm going to put in X component. It was kind of snapping there. I'd be a little cautious with letting things snap without knowing exactly what they're going to. So just kind of plopping it in out in the middle of nowhere will reduce the chance of accidentally doing something you didn't intend. So I'm going to do this line I threw into this part, coincident to the line of the layout. And then I could do right to right, or I could do the lines again. So select this one, that, and coincident. And now that guy is fully constrained. I'm not going to go through and put all the fasteners in because you kind of get the gist. So it takes a little effort to get your layout kind of set up, but once it's there, you can quickly and easily just plop your components in, and any edits that you make to those components, now you shouldn't really get any errors because they're not directly tied to features that might change or get deleted as you're revising or iterating on your parts. I'll have another video up on how to do equations, so that's what we'll be working on tomorrow, is actually taking that wheel assembly or the roller assembly and actually making it a little more dynamic.